it's really nice to meet you.
Yup.
And you had commented on my YouTube video, and I think it was the one of Tamara when she encountered the light beings.
Mhm.
And for me, that was a pretty cool episode because when she described the light beings that she had seen, it was almost exactly what I had seen at a point in time, or it aligned with the same things that I had experienced. So I don't know. I find that really comforting in a way, I guess is a way to put it. But so I'm really excited to hear like what sparked you to respond and to reach out and to hear your story about exactly what it is that you've experienced.
So I was interested about the way I discovered your video. I usually type in different types of searches to add stuff to like my art. So your video popped up on under like the freeze art and everything. Why it popped under there, I don't know. But then again, universal synchronization, it could
Yeah.
really be part of that. Anything that's like tied to spirituality, I'm always reaching out to that person. And then I went through your entire page. That's what I saw, like stuff I'm into, like spirituality, UFOs, paranormal, but it was just like the spirituality which was the top. Anything that's tied to spirituality, I'm always gonna reach out to that person ASAP. And that's why let me reach out to her, hope to schedule like a phone, video, or both, which we're here now. Talk about my experiences of like with UFOs and share my art exercise with you, because that's part of spirituality, which is why I do my
100%.
art. I love connecting with people that motivate people, uplift people, want to educate people like me and you. Because I can see why that's where you post your videos, because you're basically like illuminating, spreading knowledge. And there's not many people out here that's really going in depth into that, whether it's out of fear or ignorance, or sometimes both, unfortunately. Because we just had that UFO press conference with the Congress last week on Tuesday, and the news media did talk about it, especially here in New York City. That was like all over the news. But as always, most people did not care. If you go on social media and everything, there's like maybe like one or two comments. But yeah, everybody's talking about the pandemic. I'm not gonna say the word because I heard YouTube takes down videos if you mention like a certain word or whatever. So I'm not gonna. I've heard some crazy stories. So I'll just say
Yeah.
pandemic. I've noticed how more people are
Yeah.
focusing more on the pandemic than the UFO disclosure, and that really is alarming.
It's almost like it happened and then it was like a non-issue for the majority of the people. For me, it's like the biggest thing that has happened in humanity's history. And so like what you said about spreading knowledge is that's exactly 100% why I wanted to do this, because no one's talking about real things.
See, me and you are on the same page with that one. Like, there's a pandemic.
I consciously don't watch the news since I worked in news broadcasts for 7 years. And that's what I went to school for journalism. I believed in free speech. I believed
Yeah.
in, speaking your truth and all of those things. And then after 7 years of working within the system that is so misguided and so not aligned with anything that I believed in, and I just walked out of the newsroom and I was like, I'm never watching that bullshit again in my life. And that's why I thought, you know what? I should stop complaining about that system. I should start taking action to make a change to that system. And so that's like one of the reasons why I wanted to have conversations like this, to open up like just real conversations that people are I know they're thinking these things in their head. I can't be the only one who thinks this stuff.
I don't meet enough people that engages in the art, science, and the natures, which are like three like science. It depends, because not all science is healthy. Like some science is good and some is not, which we're seeing that through the pandemic. Art and nature are very beneficial to like healing. If more people had got more into like art and nature, I think the world would be way a lot better, which me you can agree on. But like sadly, we don't have enough people engaging in art and nature. And that's why everybody's walking around so angry and just like, I don't want to say miserable, but like you got people out here just like not
Pretty miserable.
like
Yeah, I see a lot of just tormented, depression and things in people.
with the news media one. So the one that because not everybody in the news media are bad people. Because I have one friend in the media, so like,
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah, what bothered me about the news media? So I'm born and raised in New York City. I'm an original New Yorker because like, so the Twin Towers, like that was like my childhood. That was my favorite spot in New York City. My favorite spot. When people ask me what my favorite spot is, I tell them, well, it doesn't exist anymore, like the Twin Towers. So like, because the Twin Towers was like everybody's top favorite spot. If it wasn't the Twin Towers, it was either Coney Island, Times Square, etc. Like nobody really cared about the Empire State Building or the Chrysler Building. Like Twin Towers was like the top of everybody's like to go list. But like 9/11 was the one that hit me when I started viewing media differently. I could really say this now because of what I witnessed that day. Actually, I was home for that. My high school schedule was not ready. I didn't start high school till the week after 9/11. I was home that day, and so because I live in the heart of Brooklyn in Bedford-Stuyvesant, which is like really close to Manhattan. So I heard everything. I actually heard the first explosion, and me and my grandma was on our way home. So when we first heard the first explosion, we was only like 3 minutes from home. We heard something that sounded like thunder, and so it's a blue sky. It's like, wait, thunder on a blue sky? Like that's so weird. And then got home. I turned the TV on. North Tower was burning. Turned the TV on. North Tower was burning. So the news was already had already broke. So there was like plane hit the World Trade Center. I was telling my grandma like, oh, snap, plane hit the World Trade Center. I looked out my window, and then now we could see the smoke heading towards Brooklyn. So we had a good view of the smoke at that old Brooklyn apartment building, like a good view of it. It was going over our block and even to the backyard. We had a crazy, scary view. So wherever you saw the smoke, that's where the Twin Towers is at. You knew where it was coming from. Then I heard the second explosion. The second one was actually louder than the first one. The second one was like loud, like Krystal. It was too loud because the area. If you compare Bed-Stuy to Manhattan, if you look at a map, that thing was too loud.
Every news station had different videos, and that's when I realized something was weird. So, Channel 7 and Pix, which used to be Warner Brothers here in New York, they had like the same type of video. But then CBS had a video of it coming down like a nosedive. Wait, that's different from what Channel 7 had. And then NBC had something totally different. This thing didn't even look like a plane. This thing looked like a missile on the NBC.
Do you notice that when they replay or they talk about 9/11 anywhere on TV, they
don't show the videos no more.
They only show one view and one video, and it's like it's because that's the approved one or what
Yeah, because I think that's what it is, Krystal. Because people are asking more questions about 9/11. And if they see the highlights, because they'll show highlights here in New York City, but only on documentaries. Like they won't show it on the news. You got to watch the documentaries now. So you got to go to History Channel and PBS on 9/11 to catch the highlights, which is what I do. Because they don't show it on the news media no more.
Not reporting on information is just as harmful as reporting wrong information, because like one thing, how you had mentioned that that the UFO activity over New York is really active right now.
UFOs have been increasing in New York City since the pandemic started. So I saw a rectangular UFO high in the sky. So like outside this window, high in the sky, rectangular. 3 crystal lights, like the type of perfected crystal lights, like not airplane lights, like those, like that pitch perfect flashlights. Like, oh, that's perfection. Like, whether you're an airplane pilot or a UFO creator, they always want some perfect lights on their aviation. This thing had perfect crystal clear lights. So it was like 3 lights, rectangular, moving very slow, no sound. Blue sky when this happened too, blue sky. And eventually it disappeared over the roof of my building. Next year, 2021, I'm pretty sure this was the same UFO, but this thing was being silly now. This thing was spinning, rectangular, same crystal lights, spinning. I kind of laughed it off. I was like, okay, now you teasing me. So like, and if you're not just teasing me, now you're teasing other people that have seen you. Yeah. You're just like, no, like, hi.
Yeah, like they're getting more bold.
So, and then, no, because UFOs have been known for that, like sense of humor. Like, so it's not just like hostile ET. Some I'm pretty sure some ETs have sense of humor. It's like, oh, that's probably a friendly being silly, like, oh, like we. And then I've seen the Krystal orb UFOs. Now, those have increased in New York City. So I was going like on, I think it was like I was going on my adventure walk or something. I stopped and I saw a whole bunch of Krystal orb lights, and then some other people saw it as well. They looked up. They was like they saw it too. And then I've seen like a lot of those in New York City. I've seen red UFOs in New York City. I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 in New York City. The first time I saw a red UFO, I think it was back in 2006. And then the last time I saw it was 2021. I saw a red UFO. And that one was actually like stationary high in the blue sky. And eventually it disappeared. I had looked down, looked back up, it was gone. So, and so like I've seen like a lot of those like in New York, like the orb UFOs. The first time I saw a UFO was my childhood, but this was outside of New York. I can't remember which state it was. We got lost, so we spent our way parking lots. That's like before the GPS and everything, where you use like the map, the paper map, so you get lost on road trips, the good times. So we spent the night in this parking lot, and there was a lightning going across the clouds and everything. Every time the lightning went off, I saw a UFO in the clouds. This was some type of maybe like egg-shaped, flat. I can't remember if it had 2 windows or 3 windows, but I had a good view of it. Every time the lightning flashed, you saw the UFO in the clouds. And I kept telling my family, there's a UFO in the clouds. They were like, there's stuff in there, Terrell. And I see this thing. Yeah. It's not no imagination. I saw it. So that was the first time I saw a UFO like in person. And then everything else has been like New York, which was like after the 90s. So like my first UFO I saw in New York, which I believe was that red one back in 06. And then all the rest of them, mostly during like the pandemic and everything, which is like the Krystal orb UFOs and the one red UFO I saw, which was 2020, 2021. All those incidents happened in the summertime. So like June, July, August. So it was like all in the summer, those UFOs that I saw during the pandemic. They have like increased in New York. Why they're increasing in New York, that I don't know. Because usually the hotspots are usually like Arizona, like Alaska and all them. New York City is becoming like a new hotspot. This is getting really interesting now. And we have the United Nations here. So maybe that's kind of connections to that. But I thought it was interesting that they was increasing in New York. Because usually there's like Arizona, Alaska, Nevada.
This has been super enjoyable.
Indeed. So awesome meeting you, Krystal. This is so cool. And
have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Have an awesome day.
If you have UFO sightings like Terrell's or close encounters that you want to share, please visit my website, krystalkelley.com, and send me a message.